What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the boundlessly boisterous Dr. Disaster. And I gotta be honest, as much as I would love to play a new Silent Hill game, as much as I want to see a new title in that series which kicks butt and grabs me like the old ones used to, I've got one word for anyone who thinks that a game needs a trigger warning like this one right here.
Pussy!
Right now, when you attempt to visit the Steam page for the newly announced Silent Hill F, this is what you are greeted with, a big old trigger warning for the game, cautioning people about all the dark themes and horror components of the game. This is a sign of a weak society, filled with extremely weak-ass people. It's one thing to have mature ratings on a game. As a parent, that's something I understand. There are things that I would let my 14-year-old watch that I wouldn't let my 7-year-old watch. But this weak garbage, where the first thing they list is gender discrimination, that sets off the alarm bells that these people working on this game are very attuned to the feminist sewer creatures inhabiting today's HR departments, and in very predictable fashion, this is getting absolutely roasted by gamers who are sick of this crap.
How could you? I'm a woman.
They just don't care.
Alright me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a member for just $5 a month. Some members only content that you won't want to miss will be coming to this channel, which I'm very excited to be officially announcing soon. But in any event, let's look at this Silent Hill F situation. First things first, let me say this. The trailer for this game looks pretty solid. There isn't anything I find objectionable in it, and the concept of the game is interesting. I know that some people don't care for the Japanese setting in a Silent Hill game, but it doesn't bother me as long as the game is done well. No, really the only issue I have with the game at this point is the uneasy feeling I get when I see the trigger warning that Konami posted on the Steam page for the game. Let's read it really quick just to get the full scope of what they're doing here. It says, this game contains depictions of gender discrimination, abuse, bullying, drug-induced hallucinations, torture, and graphic violence. This game is set in Japan in the 1960s and contains depictions based on the customs and culture of that time. These depictions do not reflect the opinions or values of the developers or any individuals involved. If you feel uncomfortable at any point while playing, please take a break from playing or speak to someone you trust. Alright, so like I said before, I find it very telling that the first thing that they warn gamers about is the gender discrimination, as if that is the most important bad thing that happens. Never mind the torture and abuse and all that sort of thing, female characters will likely be brutally killed in the game at certain points, but don't you dare tell those females that they can't play basketball as well as the boys. I mean, get the hell out of here with that. But trigger warnings like this in the first place are just a sign of absolute weakness. It's a sign of a society filled with weak-minded and litigious people. Now, when I talk about people in our culture today being litigious, I don't mean that if Konami didn't include this trigger warning, that they would get sued by someone in a court of law. I don't think that. But I do think that Konami is afraid they would get tried in the court of public opinion. They're still afraid that a group of screeching harpy feminists will come out of the woodwork and drag their names through the mud, damaging their sales, if they don't make it clear that the bad stuff in the game isn't stuff that they advocate. As if we aren't smart enough to decipher the difference between things that happen in a story and things that the creators of that story approve of. This is a sign that the people running the show for this game are living as if it's still 2020 and the cancel culture mob will come for their asses. And I'll give them this. As I said before, society today is filled with weak people who are litigious as hell. If they can't sue you in a court of law, they attack you in the court of public opinion because they can't follow the guidelines which were set 30 some years ago when shocking and offensive content first started really gaining traction in mainstream culture. Back then, people used to say, if you don't like it, then don't watch it. But for some reason, a certain segment of the population cannot handle that motto, and they wilt at the very hint of anything that offends their delicate sensibilities. But as I said, gamers have been roasting this thing and getting into arguments on the Steam page for Silent Hill F. Obviously, there are people who will defend a Silent Hill game no matter what. They're out there arguing that this is perfectly sensible, that the trigger warning is fine, but this guy here wrote, the content warning is unnecessary. You don't need 2 paragraphs giving crybabies a trigger warning. Just list it on the rating. And then this person replied, should have used the same content warning as for the 2 remake. This game may contain content not appropriate for all ages or may not be appropriate for viewing at work. Frequent violence or gore, general mature content. Now that's a real content warning. The one for F sounds like an apology. Sorry for making this game. And yes, it really does sound like an apology. It makes the devs seem pretty damn soft. Anyhow, then this guy wrote, what's with the odd disclaimer? If you feel uncomfortable at any point while playing, please take a break from playing or speak to someone you trust. Horror fans are your target audience. We come for horror, for death, for cosmic threats. Do you know what horror is, DevSan? It's depicting suffering and cruelty through disturbing events that seemingly out of the player's control at first glance, making us feel hopeless and thrilled at the same time. This is the whole reason why it's one of the most popular genres out there. Do you think a woman who played Sims 4 as her only game for 10 years is going to pick this up? Hence why you added the disclaimer. Let us experience this game without the hand-holding and spare us from your attempts to draw the modern audience in. And that is exactly the problem that I have with the warning. It sure does sound like an attempt to lure in people who don't actually play games like this, the so-called modern audience. It sounds as though they are more focused on keeping the perpetually unhappy happy, which is simply not going to happen. As a bit of free advice to Konami, I would recommend that they not worry about this shit moving forward and instead just worry about making a game that their legions of dedicated fans will be happy with. As I said before, the trailer looks good. Lots of people watched it and nobody was really hitting the dislike button. They've got momentum, but this is the sort of thing that makes me personally a little leery about supporting the game. It's not an automatic disqualifier for me, but I'm paying attention. Anyhow, I'm going to leave it there. What do you make of this game's trigger warning, and what did you think of the trailer? Drop your thoughts into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.